Hello, welcome to this new Back on Track series. The song is currently called Borderline. I don't know why, I've got no lyrics for it. It's literally just a word. But it becomes something more of a placeholder when I do a video about it because I'm kind of locking myself in. So that's the restriction breeds creativity thing that I love. The song's going to be called Borderline and I'll figure out why later. And I'm approaching this one from a slightly different perspective. Not only am I introducing you to the song at its absolute genesis, there's very, very little here. I want to show you the concept of sketchbooking that I've referred to in many of the songs that I've written, but it occurred to me that I've never actually showed you the process. In terms of what's actually here, it's a number of bass lines over an absolutely static drum line. At the moment I've just got a groove agent thing cycling round. I think it's a 4-bar loop, and it really doesn't matter what it is. It's all the vehicle for getting the bass lines down, and then the bass lines are informing guitar ideas, and it's the guitars where we're going to dive into sketchbooking a little bit. So rather than playing it you through, which I normally do, I'm going to jump around the various bass lines and we'll listen to each one at a time, because it really is a hodgepodge of different ideas all in a melting pot, this one. So this is what we've got. Now there are actually 3 different key signatures in the song. We've got D natural minor, we've got over here there's a D Dorian hidden with a D harmonic minor. We'll get to that later. So this is all in D natural minor, and this is the main kind of riff, and I think we got 2 of them. Yeah, this is the same thing, just repeated. Now I'm starting to form some kind of idea, even at this early stage, of what the structure of the song is going to be. So this is why you've got all of those different blocks. I've come out with these different bass ideas, and this is my tentative idea at the moment for how they could all sit together to make a song. And then we introduce a little guitar ditty. I'm not worried in the slightest about the quality of my playing at this point. These are just ideas. So we've got a kind of bit of a Latin thing going on. It feels more upbeat and up-tempo than a lot of the stuff that I write. Because I'm going to be talking over the top of this one an awful lot, I'll just bring down the volume a little bit. I'll bring it up as required. The second concept, I'll just mute the guitars for a moment. So this is the second bass line. So I'm trying to come up with this idea of how do I segue from one into another. I came up with a load of independent bass lines, discovered that some of them were in D minor, some of them were in D Dorian. The one at the end toggles every 2 bars between Dorian and harmonic minor. And I'm then picking up the guitar and throwing ideas down as to what kind of things could go with these riffs. And these 2 things tie together pretty well. Okay, so right at the very earliest moments of the life of this song, I'm trying to get the idea of, how to turn it into a song. I don't spend very long at all just coming up with riffs. That's no use to anyone. You can spawn riffs 20 times a day. Trying to make them into songs, that's the difficult bit. So let's see what's going on over in this section. Oh, sorry, that's a repeat. So this is my again, getting the foundations of the song together, which means this is probably a repeat as well. So we'll jump over that. See what's going on over here. Okay, so this section is the first like real break in terms of continuity. Up until now we've had that fairly happy kind of bouncing thing going on, and this part of the song is definitely a different vibe. Here we've got this kind of funky, I want to get into a real kind of vibe thing going off where I pull the music right down, and this is going to be quite an extended period. This is something that I've not done in any of the songs that I've published on One Man and His Songs to date, because I haven't had the confidence to just do what I feel like, you know, to really kind of stretch out and say, you know what, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes jamming over this beat because I like it. And so the idea is that each of these 8-bar sections just brings in a little bit more of the music. I was listening to a Prodigy album, I think Music for the Jilted Generation, a few days ago, and it just staggered me at how patient they were in the development of their songs. They've just got a good riff, and they're happy to sit on it for a while and very slowly just introduce one new note, you know, a new thing on the drum kit, or you know, a new kind of keyboard stab, and you're just happy to go along with them because the ideas are really strong. So let's stretch this out. So this is the whole kind of interlude piece, and the bass line, just 8 bars repeated 5 times. I don't know how long this section is going to be, but it really gets into this kind of vibe sort of thing. Obviously the drums will be much more interesting than just the same thing going round and round, but when you're doing this vibe out thing, you don't want like loads of variation in your drums. You want it to be, you know, just doing its thing in the background. So I've obviously come out with like one more idea on top of this. What is it? Okay, guitar was way out of tune at that point. Who cares? So maybe a solo will sit right the way over the top of this whole thing, you know, just one kind of languid thing, I don't know. Looking forward to it though. And there's going to have to be more work on that bridge, you know, that was too violent, but the idea is that we get the energy back. The bass line is much better than the guitar line here. It's all about the bass line. In fact, shut up. I like this bass line. So Dorian, harmonic minor. That A sharp isn't in D Dorian, but it is in D harmonic minor. So we really kind of sit on that. Have I got that the right way around? Just this is always here, by the way. You might never be able to see it, but it's always on my second screen. My beloved guitar tutor. So there's D Dorian, which is basically C major wrapped around a different note, and D harmonic minor, which has the A sharp, yep, and B flat. Cool. So again, I've got great hopes for this. I love those kind of, you know, Pink Floyd echoes, kind of walk downs, fabulous stuff. So those are all the different bass lines. Now then, over here we've got some pretty naff noodling. So these are different sessions of me, just that was one loop, and this is a completely different session over a different loop. And when I'm jamming away, this is what I do. I'll just put it in cycle mode, press record and start playing. And as you'll hear, very, very little of it is worth keeping. So let's see what we've got. So we need to listen. There's a million mistakes. Just let that go. So I quite like that. Something going on at the beginning. I think pretty much everything else in this lane is rubbish. Maybe that last bar is worth keeping. So having gone through, I don't press stop when I'm doing this. I'll run through this basically in one take, but I keep the bits that are even remotely interesting and throw the rest away, and then move down to the next line. Ooh. So a lot of it is like complete false starts. So that's all pretty rubbish. You can see when you delete stuff, it automatically selects another lane. That can be a little bit confusing, but basically I don't care where it chooses to go next. You can actually work from the bottom up and maintain some kind of control, but no. I think I spent about 16 bars trying to get this, and in the end just, yeah, it's going to be all this, and I'm still going. Can't do that because I've abandoned the plectrum, and because I've been playing more bass than guitar at the moment, I haven't got any fingernails, but I'm going to let them grow back at the moment, which lets me play guitar better because I play with my fingernails, but I'll struggle to play the bass. I wish I had removable hands. Okay, that's all pretty horrible. Nothing keepable there. Something here. There's a melody struggling to get out there. I really like this bit, and then it falls apart. So we don't need any of that. Okay, I like that bit. So you can see me, there's clearly a germ of an idea there, so I'm going to mess around with it for a few cycles while I'm trying to figure out what the notes are that I'm trying to play, and more often than not I'll just abandon it and give up and go somewhere else. But sometimes, one of the takes will be interesting, and very often I'll fluff notes and play the wrong note, and sometimes the most interesting stuff comes out of those moments. bit at the end's okay. Got to have no ego doing this. That was all horrible. Nope. I didn't say it was going to be pretty, but by the end of it we'll have something remotely resembling an actual solo, trust me. There you go, that's it. You can hear me trying to find the idea. Those things sound insipid, but can actually be quite strong backbones of melodies. Those ones with like a pretty simple idea, but that could be fine. And there's kind of the response to it. That at the end, just that last bar. I was just about to delete it and then something happened right at the end. I'll keep that last bar. Again, sometimes it can be played as badly as you like. It really doesn't matter. It's got to be played well enough that when you stick them all together again, it's like you can actually make something out. You can make out, but it doesn't matter if I fluff a note. I'm going to relearn this and play it again. So all that was rubbish. Okay. So if you've persevered, and I'm not just talking to myself at this point, that is everything from this run through. You know, on a different day with a different brain, I might keep completely different sections. But that's what we've got so far. So let's stick it together. And for now, I don't move anything horizontally. I'll keep it all in the same place. I've got one empty half bar there, which is annoying. But other than that, all the other spaces are filled. I don't know why clean up lanes really doesn't squash everything together. There must be some internal algorithm by which it determines when stuff's going to get stuck on a separate track. But that's what we've got. And so now, because we're missing this half bar over here, I'm going to pick one thing up kind of randomly and just bosh, do that. And now I'm actually just going to press play. I could have like selected the bigger bits, but I'm not. I'm just going to press play and see what we've got. Who knows? So this is the most jarring piece. See what that is up there. So the second half of this is the strongest. So we'll bring something else in instead. So that's I when I'm actually doing this like for real, I could quite easily spend 1 to 2 hours on exactly that. But already, you know, what I'm playing there is starting to become musical. And the next stage of the process, you saw me do it a little bit with that bar that was kind of silent and I had to be filled kind of arbitrarily, is just mess around with it. There are no rules. I can chop that up, put that there, and that there. And you can get really interesting things by all of those parts, because they were initially kind of culled. You know, the first filtering process tries to find the most musical phrases, and if I can maintain some kind of context with the song, that's my first pass to have everything, you know, that was played on bar 1 at bar 1, bar 2 at bar 2, and try to keep the longer pieces together, because some of those long pieces have phrases in that sound really nice, and just, you know, occasionally there's stuff that's absolutely golden and I think, oh, that's amazing, I have to keep those 2 bars. That's not the norm, that's pretty rare. What will normally happen is that I'll throw 2 completely separate parts together and they'll combine in a unique way that I would never have anticipated. It's all about using your discretion to listen to. I've played every one of those notes. So that's all me. That's my subconscious creativity just blatting stuff down. And now I'm free to do whatever I want with it. I've got no compunction or kind of shame or embarrassment about chopping this stuff up and coming up with new ideas that I'd never actually consciously thought of. But it's my fingers that have played them, and it's my brain that's told my fingers to do that. I get the joy of playing spontaneously and just sitting there for 15 minutes and just, noodling away on the guitar. And then I come back and I find out if was there any gold in there, are there any joyful nuggets. And every one of the solos that you've heard on any of the songs that I've completed up until now have been written using this technique. Let's say that was the solo as finished. I would then stick all the parts together, pick my guitar back up and relearn those notes. I'll actually learn the solo that I've just decided is going to be the finished thing, and then I'll record it in, fluently, so that it has that sense of continuity and it's just one continuous, piece of played music. Hope you enjoyed that one. Bit of a change of direction and pace for this episode, but I think, a change is as good as a rest occasionally. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing. If you hit notifications, then you'll find out when my other episodes come out, and I hope to see them.